I don't know whether everyone knows, but Jay is an honorary member of the GCs, made this at their anniversary a couple of years ago. I first met Jay Goodman in the late winter, early spring of 1970. I was here for a job interview. Somehow I had made my way to the guest house, which was then in Hebe Court, where Human Resources is now. I had made my way there from Boston the night before. I don't remember how, but somehow I got there. Jay came to pick me up for breakfast the next morning, and I discovered only then that we shared a Beloit past. We had had all of our Beloit College past. We had had all of our political science professors in common and had mutually fond memories of what a small liberal arts college experience had meant to us. I had recently turned 25, which I subsequently found out was Jay's age when he was hired at Wheaton. I don't remember too much about that interview day, except that I was enormously impressed with my potential colleagues in political science and with the students that I met that day, one of whom is here, Wyneva Johnson. And I discovered that there was very tough competition for the job. I have to think that the old boy network worked in my favor. In that I did get the job. Over the next 45 years, Jay remained a friend and a mentor to me and to others in the department and across the Wheaton community. He was very fond of David Vogler and agonized privately about David's battle with cancer. David's death was a particular blow to Jay. Jay once said to me and to Hannah Goldberg that he thought loyalty was the most important quality that a politician should have. Jay certainly lived his own life in this way, remaining loyal to his friends and his colleagues and his former students, whatever situation they found themselves in. Both Jean Wilson and I recently observed to each other that we both valued the professional advice that Jay offered us early in our careers at Wheaton, and that we both saw Jay as a loyal friend. In his 50 years at Wheaton, Jay made significant contributions to the Wheaton community and to his students. Jay built the government department at Wheaton, which later became the political science department, because as a young member of that department, through a set of circumstances, he found himself chair after being here only a couple of years, and he had a mandate from the then President Prentice to make the department grow as it separated from the history department. As chair of the advisory committee in the 1970s, Jay worked with faculty colleagues to revise the tenure system at Wheaton to be one that included a substantial faculty voice, and that was unique in being a one-tier system, a one-tier process that included both administrators and faculty in the same room. That was really a very unique system, and it remains a very valued part of the Wheaton experience for faculty. Jay was unceasing in his efforts to help construct and maintain the Wheaton network through his work in both the admission process and in alumni programs. In fact, someone just mentioned to me that if Jay were still alive, he would be offering an alumni college class, would have offered one yesterday. He was always around for reunions. He mentored me in that direction too, saying that our alums were the most important way that we could measure our success as teachers, and taking me to my first reunion in 1971 when I didn't know one single alumna. His presentations about the current state of politics to alumni groups, both on the campus and around the country and indeed worldwide, are legend. And his willingness to offer and his own particular insider perspectives about politics to prospective students remained a successful recruiting tool at Wheaton for many years. Jay and I often reminisced about our Beloit years, especially how our favorite faculty members were mentors as well as teachers for us, and they helped shape our lives. So it is no surprise that Jay's greatest achievement at Wheaton was as both teacher and mentor to his students. As a teacher, Jay had a special knack of leading students to learn something from the inside out, challenging them to see themselves as practitioners within the political frameworks that they were studying. He not only brought his own insider perspective into the classroom, a perspective he built through his own political activism in college and beyond, and the consulting work that he did afterwards, But he also used the very complex, sophisticated, and thoughtfully constructed simulations for several of his courses. And through those simulations, he coaxed his students to become insiders too, by giving them hands-on learning experiences. He was a great advocate for experiential learning and encouraging his students to undertake internships from their first year on at Wheaton, helping them to translate that internship work into insider learning experiences. Former students frequently report that the lessons gleaned through the simulations role that they played, or what Jay helped them to see about their experiences as an intern in a law office, or working for a campaign, or in Rhode Island government, or whatever internship they had, has stuck with them for the rest of their lives. But Jay's most powerful role was as a mentor. As Jerry Hueskamp recently reminded me, Jay's students often remarked that Jay saw some qualities in them that they had not seen in themselves, and that his reaching out to them made a huge difference in their lives. Whether it was mentoring students toward graduate school or law school, or supporting and coaching them as they applied for national scholarships or sought competitive internships, or as they applied for their very first jobs, Jay was a consummate matchmaker. I frame it that way because his efforts went much beyond encouragement. They involved guiding a student to find his or her passion, and then offering assistance in figuring out how a workable path to achieve the goals that were part of that passion could be found. Sometimes subtly and sometimes overtly, Jay helped his students to outline the steps that they needed to achieve success. As Ted Nesi noted in his Wheaton Quarterly article about Jay himself saw his role as that of a coach, with his own reward being his students' achievement. One of the things that stuck with me about that article is a quote from Jay, where he said, "The team wins, I win. Some of the things that happen to my students are more satisfying than anything that ever happened to me." All of this meant not just one pep talk with students or a few meetings with them. Jay's mentoring of students often lasted from their early days as freshmen in Political Science 101 into their lives well beyond Wheaton, and at times it led to remembering and honoring some students after their lives came to an end. Note the 2 benches in front of Napton Hall that Jay and Gail donated for Wade Johnson and Donna Garofano after they passed away. A quote that is attributed to Abe Lincoln, although I don't know whether he actually said it or not, but it is attributed to him, says, "In the end, it is not the years of your life that count, but the life in your years." Jay filled his years with the lives of his students, and in doing so, he enriched their lives in ways that will resonate far into the future. He truly paid it forward to the many generations of the Wheaton community whom he encountered in his 50 years of teaching here. It is not an exaggeration to say that the extended Wheaton community is richer and deeper for having had Jay Goodman as part of it for so long. And as the roots of this tree grow deep, and the plaques on the campus in both the Holman Room and by his office in Napton, as those things are there in his memory will outlast all of us. Jay will continue to be an important part, a significant part of the Wheaton community.